know where the treats at.
Is this the passing of the torch, right? Is this what this signifies?
It comes down to that front office and what they feel is most important.
The champ is here. We've touched down from a higher plane. Why you made it here?
We always look forward to that week because it was always intense.
You know that we ain't coming back. We about to.
The man, the myth, the legend, Dante Hall. My favorite player growing up was Dante Hall. I love you guys in the show, but Dante was my guy.
Get to dashing because you done on the warfield.
Hey there, Marcus Dash here from Chief Concerns. Just want to comment and say BetOnline is your #1 source for all your sports betting needs. Get the latest odds, lines, and matchup reports for football, baseball, boxing, golf, and much more. BetOnline continues to be the fastest and easiest way to place your wagers, including live betting and your favorite casino and card games available to play right from your phone. Head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and get in on the action. Remember to use promo code BELIEVE, BLEAV, for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, where the game starts. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Chief Concerns. This is our Monday morning tight end show with former Chiefs tight end Jason Dunn. We'll break down all the grades from the devastating loss that we had yesterday in Denver. But of course, beforehand, we got to talk trades, JD. Tomorrow is the finally, and I know some of you guys are probably annoyed at all the trade conversation, but you know, when you have a need, when you are the Chiefs and then trade deadline is coming up as it is, and you know, there's not really a #1 receiver on the team, trade topics are hot, and you can see online, you can't avoid it. You go scroll down the Twitter timeline, trades, all everyone's talking about. Obviously receivers, the big one everyone's talking about. You could I saw someone say make the argument about middle linebacker potentially being something to trade for with the injuries we got. Bolton out for 2 months. Gay had left the game. Quote was I don't know what his injury is right now. Drew Tranquil got banged up a little bit, so maybe even getting a kind of a vet guy, maybe potentially bring in one. I know Anthony Barr is a free agent. That could be a good depth middle linebacker addition. But JD, so right now the Chiefs cap situation is very different. That we just can't bring on someone, right? So Mike Evans has been a name everyone's throwing out there. He has a base salary of $13 million, which equates to $7.22 million in cap space for the remainder of the season. Evans would need to restructure that number, or the Chiefs would need to increase their cap space to take on Mike Evans. So essentially, Mike Evans, I mean, we have to play some salary cap gymnastics because right now the Chiefs have $3.2 million in cap space. They can acquire a player right now with a salary of $5.6 million without restructuring any contracts. If they were to restructure Travis Kelce's contract, that would give us about $4.48 million. So JD, you talked last night after the postgame show because everyone was talking about receiver, D-Hop, Mike Evans. You're talking about fit. The guy has to fit in. You can't just bring in on anybody in here. When you hear the names Mike Evans, when you hear the names DeAndre Hopkins, talk about what you're thinking of when you talk about fit. And I'm talking about on the field and also as far as what we just talked about here, the money, making the money work. What do you make of some of these names that are people are throwing out right now, JD?
Let me see. Hold on, let me get my mic here working so everybody can hear me. One, I think, you know, obviously the names are names that everybody knows, that everybody covets their ability and what they can do. And what I was saying last night is that every team is not fit for every player as far as what they do offensively. And I'm talking about scheme-wise. And so sometimes you have to have a scheme that fits what a player does well, okay? I've said this with Andy Reid's offense when it started here in Kansas City, is this offense is more geared for the smaller wide receiver. And it is. And you look at, you know, up and down the board, who they've been getting in the draft, who they've been trying to find, you know, in free agency, guys they've been coveting. And it's been more so that smaller build type of guy, 5'10", 5'9", maybe 6 foot. A guy that's got got a lot of juice, very elusive, quick, runs a lot of jet sweep, can do a lot of, wide receiver screens, which you can do at it with anyone. But it's more of the wide receiver who can find a window, kind of get open. And then I said before, what this offense does, and they do a very good job of it, is it's almost like running concepts, but it's almost like scramble drill too. Okay. So scramble drill, so people don't understand what that is at the end of the game, or sometimes when a quarterback flushes out of the pocket. Now the wide receiver mirrors the quarterback or tries to get open, try to find a lane that he can find to sit into where he can catch the football. And so I see a lot of that happening with our offense. Now, would a guy like Mike Evans or D-Hop come in here and run that type of offense? I don't know. We know Mike Evans and we know DeAndre Hopkins are very athletic guys. They do a very good job going high pointing the ball, catching the football, very athletic. They could do all those different things. We know that. That was one reason that we was asking for D-Hop during the offseason. We wanted D-Hop, and he was like, hey, man, let's go get D-Hop. Everybody's like, oh, he's an old receiver. He's not going to give you much. But there's things that D-Hop has that would be very lucrative. We were trying to get D-Hop here because of his skill set. We knew he is a guy that's very athletic. Everybody's like, well, you get an older receiver. D-Hop at 75% is still better than a lot of guys 100% in this league. Okay, that's just the reality. That's the reason he was one of the most prolific wide receivers in the past 10 years in the NFL. It's because of the things he was able to do. Now, Mike Evans. Mike Evans is a guy who has a lot of ability. We know that. He's a number one wide receiver. His talent is being wasted, no doubt, down in Tampa Bay, having old Baker, I'm making fun of Marcus because Marcus likes that guy. But hey, he's losing his talent down there. We know that. But I do believe that Mike Evans, his price point is just too much for us to handle. It just is. It's going to cost us a lot of money to get him, some trades, some draft trades. And then all of a sudden, you're going to have to try to give him a big deal after he gets finished getting here. That's what's going to happen. And so I don't see Mike Evans working for us. Okay. That's just price wise.
Yeah. Well, that's the one thing too, that when we talk about price wise. So DeAndre Hopkins, I think this year alone, I think he's just due $1.1 million a year, or just for this year. But next year's this is where like the whole trading for a guy who can give us kind of future potential flexibility. And DeAndre Hopkins, as far as next year, I mean, that deal he signed with Tennessee, next year he's due $15 million. I mean, it's just like, that's a lot of money. I mean, and we just don't want to, and we don't want to do it. This year, $1.1 million is fine. But when we start talking about future assets for a guy, who's going to be making $15 million next year, and we got L'Jarius Sneed, we got Chris Jones in free agency next year. So like, they're guys we want to retain, but at the same time, like, I don't know, it's a tough position to be in. That's why Veach always goes for the guys who were maybe first or second round picks, maybe didn't pan out in other situations. Mm-hmm. And like, he tries to make those guys work over here, diamonds in the rough kind of deal, because he doesn't want to end up paying somebody because he knows we have to retain some of the guys we have. So it's kind of a rough situation. I mean, when you hear D-Hop making $15 million next year, is that something that like kind of throws you off? Like, nah, like that's
tough to do. $15 million, for D-Hop next year. The thing is, these guys are wizards with the cap. They can make things work. They really can. They kind of hold money. They know what they can actually do. So the thing is, there's no guarantee Snead's going to be around. And the reason there's no guarantee he's going to be around is because we got young corners who have been playing, who are capable of doing the things that Snead does, right? Snead is a leader. He makes tons of plays, okay? But then all of a sudden, if you want to do the whole negotiation tactics, you can say, well, he gets a lot of mistakes too. There's things he gets lost in coverage, right? He gets, silly penalties on him at different times of the game. Okay, he had how many? 4 yesterday, I think it was, somewhere like that, 4 or 5. But he's a good receiver. He's good. He's a good corner. So it's really incumbent upon those guys there dealing with the whole cap space, and they can do it. They really can. They can make some things work. We talked about Marquise Brown as a guy, okay, that is almost in kind of the same boat. You kind of get him here on his rookie deal, but also too, you're gonna have to look for getting him a sweet deal, right? That's one thing you had to do to try to give him a sweet deal. Let's just say all you could use different scenarios trying to get a guy here, right? but you're trying to find a guy that has a price point with guys that give you production. I know somebody said Juju Smith-Schuster. Okay, he's up there in New England. You know, do you bring that guy like that back? He was able to eat here. He got a lot of catches, but he wanted to go get the bag. That's what he wanted to do. He wanted to go somewhere, and he thought he should have got paid. And look, and rightly so. I would never disparage anybody for wanting to get paid their money, none whatsoever. My thing is this: we are so down on this wide receiver group that I don't believe that we have enough patience to even let them develop. I don't. I think McCole Hardman coming here when getting traded back was a good move for us. I think our offense looks a lot different with McCole being in there. And so him working back into the offense, you still have McCole Hardman, Rashid Rice, who's been tearing up the offense. You know, we couldn't get him, acclimated the first few weeks, but now he's a baller. He's a player. Okay, he's catching 4 balls practically every game. He took that one on the sideline, stepped out for about 40 yards. Right. Look at that speed he had in and then ran over a DB. So he has that ability. We know that. Some of the plays that we want to try to do, what people love seeing, is throw the ball up and let him go get it. Like Jerry Jeudy caught that one yesterday. Cortland Sutton went up and Joker climbed the ladder to go get a couple of balls. Jerry Jeudy might be a guy that you might want to get. Sure, I'll sit there and say, I'm gonna throw a name out that people haven't really been talking about, and that's Hunter Renfrow. Hunter Renfrow is a guy that could possibly come into this offense, who ate a couple of years ago, and then all of a sudden they're not using him out there in Vegas, not utilizing him. Well, because they got 2 monsters on the outside that they could do and catch anything, right? So Josh McDaniels don't like Hunter Renfrow. Hunter Renfrow is a guy that could probably come in the offense and eat a lot. He really could. He was good at Clemson. He will be good here. So we like Clemson guys, apparently. So, Cornell Powell, Justin Ross, why not bring in Hunter Renfrow and see what he can do here? So there's a lot of different guys. Marquise Brown, Hunter Renfrow, I said Curtis Samuel. Look, there's a plethora of guys you can go out there and try to bring in here. But it has to be the right fit. It has to be the right guy fit for our culture, what we're trying to do. These guys can't be selfish, And like I said, it's still a one of those things where it's learning the offense, that whole growing pain of just learning what we're doing offensively. I know what it means to get into a room and then have everybody around you say, look, we need to get better. We got to do it, and we got to put the onus on us. And I think a lot of it is just the patience. When I heard Patrick talk about in the press conference and Andy, when talking about consistency, doing things, the nuances and whatnot, and they're just not talking about the wide receiver. They're talking about themselves. That was part of the deal. That's what we need to figure out is we not just put it all on the wide receivers. And everybody keeps saying the wide receivers are not open. And I watched that game twice last night, okay? And there was times that guys are open. There was times that Sky Moore was open. The one time he drops it in the end zone, which he probably should have had. He should have had that one. But there was times he was open. He caught some balls yesterday. So we can go back and forth. My thing is, look, we decide to stay with this wide receiver group. I'm ready to ride with them. I am. I have no problem whatsoever staying with the guys that we have in the room. I think because once you have this core group of guys and they understand it's them against now, not just the rest of the world, but now Chiefs Kingdom and some of it, right? That what you do is you bring them closer together. I think they start going out there and playing with a chip on their shoulder. A veteran presence would definitely be needed if you did anything like that. That's why I said D-Hop during the offseason. D-Hop would have been that guy to come in and help these young guys develop, to understand what it means to be, a pro, right? So we can keep going back and forth with our guys we want to get. Man, you know what? We're talking about dropping 7, dropping 8, and guys getting open when there's only 3 guys going out in routes. So that's what we're looking at. So it's the whole scope of what goes on. Denver had a great game plan against us. They really did. Okay. Pat realized, okay, I need to sit back and find out what's going on with the coverage. Okay. Maybe the calls need to be better. need to be better calls for these guys to actually get open and to eat. And so there's many things that we can go in and say, this is where guys need to improve. Do we go and get a wide receiver before this deadline thing? That's only on them, man. It's only on them. I can speculate and I can say it so many different things, man, but I'm always trying to find answers in the building and in the room.
Yeah. I like Hunter Renfrow. I think he's solid. I think he'd be great with us. Again, this goes back to the question as far as divisional rivals wanting to trade with each other. Because you mentioned Judy and Sutton and Renfrow. Obviously, if it's the right deal, they'll do it. But I'm seeing here, you kind of mentioned play calling because it's more, I feel like everyone's just blaming receivers. And I think it's more than just MVS or Sky Moore. I mean, you mentioned the play calling, everyone in here, a couple people in here, BS Flick, had no trouble scoring in the red zone under Bieniemy. Now he's gone and no one can get open. Problem lies more on Nagy than anything else.
Ooh, who said that?
BS Flick said that in the comments. And then KC Chiefs fan, I agree with that. The current offensive scheme looks like dog poop. Looks like the same old plays and nothing creative. And that's something we've been talking about. I mean, that's we talk about the full scope of things. It's not just receivers. It's not just, dropping balls. It's more than that. And the play calling is something that we have talked about. That it's lack creativity, and when we do go creative, it's way too gimmicky and way too cute. It's like let's give the ball a PM15, let them do something.
But it's easy to blame the young guys, because you don't really have any dogs out here that's going to say anything in the media and say, "Hey, man, it's not necessarily us." So you don't have that guy. Nobody's going to go out there and speak for them like somebody needs to, because they're all young guys. And so the thing is, when you're looking over the film and you look at, all 22, when you're actually looking at what the defense is actually doing to us, then you're like, okay, maybe guys are not necessarily, not running good. They're getting open. I think their routes have gotten a lot better. I think the routes have gotten a lot better. Like I said, with McCole Harmon being here, now you can try to take the top off the defense. We got to take some shots down the field. We had to take some shots. So there's a lot of different things, man. We said, look, we even talked about this, Marcus. We even talked about maybe bringing in a tight end, right? Because they said, oh, well, what if Kelsey goes out? Who's going to bring? Okay. Well, let's go on and say our name, but we thought about would be a good fit here, okay, because he's just a pass-catching tight end. He ain't going to give you nothing in the blocking game, but that sucker can run routes and he's athletic, okay? And that's Gesicki. We said he's a guy like that. He's another guy that we could work into the offense to get open, right? If that's all he's going to give you, then let it be that, okay? Let it be that. But like I said, man, we can stay here all day naming names.
Yeah.
Okay. The reality is it's going to take the guys in the room. It's going to take the guys in the building. And that's not just the wide receiver. It's the coaches too. It's the quarterback too. Okay. It takes everybody to get a game, the team thing going. It takes all of us. It takes all of us. Right. And so Chiefs are no different. They're no different. Denver just had a better game plan for us yesterday. They did a much better job and they deserved the win. Somebody said it yesterday. We deserve the L with some of our output, not just offensively, but defensively too. So when we get into these grades, you're going to see my grades and you're going to say, okay, well, JD, why you graded like that? I'm going to tell you why I graded that way. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So I went through this film, man, and it wasn't pretty. It wasn't pretty. So
so that's a beautiful segue to get into the grades. JD, one more thing. I've seen a few people actually. Guy who going into last year, everyone was loving him in Chicago, and then last year happened, and then he wasn't. I didn't heard his name ever again because they traded for DJ Moore. But Darnell Mooney was a guy a lot of people were high on going into last season. That's a guy. He's a contract year. He's a free agent after this. He's only making like $3 million this year. But yeah, contract year. What do you think about Darnell Mooney type of guy? Because that's the kind of guy. He's young. He's not making anything. And those are the kind of guys, everyone's talking about big names, Hopkins, Evans. I think if there is a move, and I don't know if there will be a move tomorrow, but if there is a move, it's going to be another guy, an unproven guy, a guy who's shown flashes, but like is young and is not, it's not wide receiver one that's coming over here. Like what do you make of Darnell Mooney, or how much do you know about Mooney?
I mean, shoot, I think he's a talented guy. We could say what's the name Moore out there in Arizona too. There's a lot of different guys we could say. Mooney is a guy that you could possibly use. Does he fit into our scheme? That's a question. Does he fit into our culture? That's another question. That's the thing about it. I don't know. I've been extensively looked at him, but sometimes you hear names come and go. We can go. Hindsight is 2020. I was talking about guys we should have gotten in the draft. Talking about guys who should have gotten in the draft 2 years ago. Yeah. Whatever, so. Okay, we can play a game all day.
Yeah.
But it ain't no point. No point in doing that.
Let's go back to the CH draft and draft Michael Pittman or T. Higgins in that first round instead of CEH. We wouldn't even talk about receivers right now.
Yeah. CH obviously he'll probably include in a package. If you did any type of trade, right, to make it move for a team. But hey, man, like I said, I think you get everything fixed in the building. I think they got the answers. They got the ability. They got the guys in the room that can still win a Super Bowl. Okay, they can still win a Super Bowl, and so it may just take some guys longer. It may do it. We halfway through the season, all right? Halfway through the season, these guys can get these things turned around, and I think they got the guys in the building to do it.
Yeah. Well, JD, now we're going to go to our grades. And obviously anybody who's been watching our show knows JD's a tough grader. He's fair, but very, very strict. And he's been tough when we've won games already this year. I cannot imagine what's going to be like today. So JD, what position group are we going to be going with to start off with?
So I'm going to start off with, I always try to start off with same guys, but this week I'm going to start with our running backs. Okay, start with our running backs. So I felt like that was a good place to go. And so for our running backs, I gave them a B. Actually a B minus is what I gave them. Okay. Now, the reason I gave the running backs a B minus is I think, well, my opinion is they didn't get utilized the way that I expected them to this game. Right? There was times that Pacheco had carries, got 4 or 5 yards, and then we go away from him. And I'm sitting there thinking like, okay, why are we doing that? See, because when a guy was balling out of control first 3 or 4 weeks of the season, it had gotten into a tempo of being your bell cow to tote the ball. All of a sudden, these last 2 games, we decided to kind of get out of the scheme of what we was doing with it. And the best way to get teams out of dropping 7 or 8, run the dang on football. Just run the ball. It's really that simple. When you get down in the red zone, you don't have to give it to Kadarius Toney or Rashid Rice. I'd rather them, you know what? Let them run a route. I get to try to do the little shovel pass and all those different things, but how about we just hand the ball off to Pacheco, throw the ball out the backfield to McKinnon, and let these guys go get some yards or go get touchdowns. Let's just go get the hard mustard yards. And that's what I love about our offensive line, because these guys love to go block. They love blocking. They hate sitting back in their cleats, sitting back in pass protection the whole time. I mean, we got maulers up front. We got some real bullies up front that love throwing guys around. So what makes them better? Give them what they want. Give them some red meat to eat. Give them something to go hunt, okay? They love hunting the D-line and linebackers and corners and safeties. And they love coming across the pile. Trey Smith, Donovan Smith, these guys like getting out on the edge. Creed likes getting up in the middle. Thuney likes going everywhere, And so that's the thing about it. We these guys right here, man, I'm telling you, they love blocking, okay? We got to give the ball out to the running backs, okay? So I gave these guys a B minus. Obviously, you want them to do more, okay? McKinnon probably could have had a very good run if Rashid Rice decided to block a guy. Hello, Rashid, okay? You got to step up, buddy. I see you like catching the ball a lot, but you don't like blocking, putting your hands on nobody. That's bogus right there, man. It's got to switch up. And I hope somebody's calling him out in a meeting like, yo, man, look, you can tiptoe up the sideline for 40, but you can't put your hands on somebody for 4 yards, okay? Those things got to change. That's where you got to get better, right? That's where you got to get better. So I got the running backs. I gave them a B-. Okay. Thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think utilization, I don't know if that's an issue on the running backs, but I mean, the fact they stopped running with Pacheco after 8 carries when he was going $5 a carry, 5 yards a carry. And, like, I would love to see him utilized more. I mean, that was going away from it. I feel like we like to throw the ball anyway, but going down yesterday, even more of an excuse for them to go away from the running game. Yeah, I would love to see more from the running backs yesterday. And I don't know if that's their fault. But yeah, I would say B. I agree. B-. Yeah.
Yeah. Now I'm gonna go to our guy PM15. Okay, going straight to the quarterback. I'm gonna stay in the backfield with this one. Going to the quarterback. And so obviously he was battling the flu, but like I said yesterday, that's not an excuse. Okay. Matter of fact, he got on the podium. He said, "Hey man, it's just something you deal with." He didn't give an excuse either. When you lace up those cleats, you putting out there what you can. Okay, you're giving it your all. And I gave PM15. I gave him a C+. That's what I gave him. Gave him a C+. Okay. I think some of his decisions were good at times, and I think some were bad than others. And so, still looking for the deep balls. Sometimes you just got to take the check down. Sometimes you just got to throw to the open man. And that one that he threw the interception, the guy got it for throwing to Kelsey. Sky Moore was open over on the other side. He was open. He was wide open. But Van Joseph knows what. Patrick Mahomes is going to be looking for Travis Kelsey most of the time. And I guarantee you told the defense, listen, when we sit back in zone, everybody needs to know where Travis Kelsey is, okay? If you find him behind you or whatnot, understand that Patrick Mahomes is going to be staring him down at times. He's going to be looking for Travis Kelsey at times when things start getting a little heated back that way. So the one guy we can't let beat us is Travis Kelsey. Let everybody else around us beat us, okay? So you start seeing guys catching balls all the way around him, right? Rashee Rice, MVS, Sky Moore caught some balls, Justin Watson. So those guys started catching, producing a little bit. So Patrick throws one, ill-advised, guy baited him, goes back the other way. Had another one, guy hit his arm. He's holding the ball a little bit too long. But I think just off the effort itself of what he tried to give because of the flu and whatnot, I gave him a C+. I wanted to kind of be fair to him, right? Because I know he was trying to do what he could, but sometimes when you try to do too much, that's where you get in trouble. And so I think that's part of the problem. He makes a brilliant play when he turns around and all of a sudden he throws, oh my gosh, he catches, the other tight end, Noah Gray, on the sideline, right? Extends the play. Yep. Great thing he does. Run the football. Great play he does. And then all of a sudden when he does it again, it doesn't work and he's running on and, Donovan's picking him up because, he's running around in his lap. So sometimes it gets tiring to an offensive line because when you got a guy who's trying to get around different places and look, because that's who Patrick is, right? I've said this and everybody may disagree, but protecting for Patrick may be one of the most difficult jobs in the world because he loves extending plays. That's where he's great at, right? But you just got to know that coming in that's what he's going to do. So I gave him a C+. Trying to be fair to him, okay? So our fearless leader, man, he's going to come back. You could just see it in his eyes. He was pissed, absolutely pissed. And so, like you told him, it might happen at one point when, I might lose to a team. But he didn't like the performance. He didn't like his performance, and you could see it. You could tell guys who are winners, you could tell who he's mad at, right? You could tell that. So he'll get it back on track. I got all the confidence and faith in that he will, okay?
Yeah.
Next position. I'm going to go to the O-line, offensive line. All right, offensive line. My grade, I gave the offensive line. I actually gave these guys, I gave them a B. Okay.
Oh, really?
I did. I gave him a B. There was times I gave Patrick a lot of time. I'm trying to be balanced with this. There was times because sometimes what you have to do, sometimes you have to know that you got to block more than 5 seconds. When you're blocking, pass blocking, you know in your head the ball's supposed to be gone in 4 seconds to 5. And it's the 1,001, 1,002, 1,003, 1,004, 1,005. And you expect the ball to be out. Ball should be gone, right? You just have that clock in your head. You just that is the ideal thing that you should do, knowing the ball should be gone within, that 5 seconds or 4. And sometimes those guys will block, and the guys will just keep coming. You know what the defense coach is telling them? You just keep coming. You keep coming. Because why? Patrick Mahomes extends the plays with his legs. And so you'll have an opportunity there to get, a sack or, get some pressure. And that's all we need. Just going left to right, north, instead of north and south. You do that, getting going side to side, then you'll have a chance to get, one from the backside. And they did. Brown and the other guy, guess what? Hit his arm, got a strip. He lost the fumble, first fumble he's lost, I think, this year. So guys just got to know they got to block a little bit longer. Pat just got to block a little bit longer. But as far as, running out there blocking, I think they did a decent job blocking the front. I really do. Like I said, man, it's the timing of things. You just got to make sure you stay on your block the entire time. These guys love hitting guys, and we got to give it to them. We just got to give it to them. So I kind of was like, okay, I understand. Y'all trying to do what y'all can with what's going on, what they're giving you. So I gave him a B. I was really kind of easy on these guys this week. So I gave him a B. All right.
Fair. No, I actually agree with that one. I feel like the offensive line got a lot of crap online unfairly, I think, moments in that game where Mahomes had all day back there. And you could say a lot of the sacks were more so coverage sacks than them just giving up sacks, because Mahomes was back there for a good while. Bouncing around all over the place, trying to find someone. You could say receivers aren't getting open or whatever. But I feel like those are mostly coverage sacks where,
they're dropping 7 out. They're dropping 7. Then they had a guy that was spying him at times, okay, that would sit back. So Patrick's like, well, daggone, I see nothing but Broncos jerseys back there. We got 3 guys out on a route. Other 2's right here, and we would get into third and long. That was another thing that we would get into, which is just, it's crazy because of some of the play calling. I'll leave it alone right now. But that's what it was. So yeah. So I'm gonna go to my tight ends. Tight ends, all right. I gave my tight ends. I gave them a B plus. Okay. Give him a B plus.
You're biased, JD. You gotta take these biases away.
I know it. Look, but when I see week in and week out, Noah Gray shows up, and that's another thing that adds on to what Kelsey does each and every week. Kelsey, man, they just, always playing a heck of a game. I need a little bit more from my guys on the blocking aspect. Okay, a little bit more. So did I say B plus? Let's get just a regular B. Okay. All right. Let me be fair. All right. If I'm gonna do it, let's go just B. Okay. All right. I don't give him a B plus. I'm not gonna give him a little. Yeah, that's not just a B. Okay. But Noah Gray stepped up. He caught some balls. Did a pretty good job. He got out there in space, kind of blocking. Blake Bell had the one drop. There's times we didn't stick on our defenders like we should. I'll tell you, who blocked? And this is kind of a hat off to the tight ends on the other side. Those guys blocked their tails off. Denver's tight ends did a hell of a job blocking. They was mauling folks. They were. But, when you run in the ball and that's what you do, you're going to be better at it, right? So they did a good job. They really stood out to me when I was watching our defense. I'm like, dang, is that a tight end? Handling us like that? Wow. Okay. So that's where I got the guys a B. That's why guys got a B. Okay. All right.
Did you happen to see Kelsey's numbers? Everyone was talking about that after the game. Kelsey's numbers without Taylor Swift in attendance. significantly less, JD.
Hey, I don't think it had anything to do with Taylor Swift. I think it had everything to do with what the defense coordinators is saying to do. They emphasize it. The A7 is killing everybody. He can't kill us. He can't kill us. Okay, let him have his little routes here and there. He got open. Anytime you get Kelsey one-on-one, you're gonna lose. Period. You're gonna lose. So that's how that works. So then we go to our wide receiver group. So I gave him a wide receiver group. I gave him a C. That's what I gave him. Okay, just average. And so the reason I gave him a C is because they were open. I think Justin Watson came in and gave a good spark to what he did. MVS caught some balls, got a first down. Rashee Rice caught some balls, did a great job. Even Sky Moore caught a couple balls. But then on the other end of it, we've seen MVS drop the pass, okay? Or he catches one, it's a fumble. We know Rashee Rice blocking should be better, okay? He's got to do a much better job. And at times he's good, times he's just real terrible, and it stands out to you. Like, this ain't, SMU. It's not, okay? So, drop your cojones, okay? You got to go out there and hit guys in the mouth. And then we seen, obviously, Sky Moore is supposed to have the touchdown in the end zone. So I don't know if he lost it in the air, what happened. But I gave him a C. That's why I gave him a C, okay? So there was times they had flashes doing something really good. Times it was like, dang, man, I want to be on your side. I'm trying to be on your side, but you these things right here cannot happen. They just can't happen. But, they weren't the only one making mistakes, right? They weren't the only one causing turnovers. Oh, and I'm taking that turnover to the special teams now. And I wasn't doing wide receivers, McCole Harmon, the special teams, okay? So, all right, but, McCole too, okay? That's the special teams on that grade, all right? But that's what I gave him. I gave him a C. I
agree. I think you got a lot. Yeah, we have only 5 people voted. We have 3 D's or lowers on that one. We have the 5 votes on there.
On what?
For the receiver grades, D or lower. We got 3 of those.
Oh, okay.
Out of the 5.
Yeah. I gave him a C. Could have gave him a C minus. C minus might be a little bit more in that vein, but
yeah.
So, defensive line. Okay, I'm gonna start on defensive side of the ball. Hold on, let me pull these over because I got some notes on these things right here.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I know it. When the teacher start bringing out extra notes, you're like, wait, hold on. Like, I didn't know you was gonna grade like that. Oh yeah, we're gonna start. So what I did, man, I broke down the entire game and I started looking. Defensive line. Let me just go all the way in. I gave a defensive line, man. I gave them C minus is what I'm gonna give them. C minus. Okay. All right. Now I'll go with a C. I'll give him a C. I'll change it. There was times we got bullied. First quarter, 11-24, 1st and 10, no push by the D-line, bullied by the O-line. I mean, we were talking about Curious George getting knocked off the ball, 9 to get knocked off the ball. Williams takes it all the way down. He's 6 yards before anybody touches him. 6 yards. The rotation, I think, I'm looking at the rotation. I think the rotation is just messed up. I think it's bad. A certain combination of guys, you can't have it at the same time. If that's the case, on certain things you're going to do, start with the run. Some guys got to step up better than what they've been doing. Okay.
What would be the rotation you thought was kind of rough?
We need to change rotation and put it that way. Okay. All right. They'll get that situated. They'll find it. They'll look at it. They'll see certain guys in the game together. It's not always a good combination. It's just not. He's another guy. They said we're gonna stop Chris Jones from being apart. He goes out there at defensive end, and they double him out there. They made it a fact. Matter of fact, they checked to it. I'm like, oh, okay. They learned. They start seeing it. When Chris is out there one-on-one with a tackle, more than likely he's going to win. They're going to get pressure. So what do? Keep a tight end or get a running back. Give me some help. Everybody else, single up inside. You got to win. Pure and simple. You got to win. Okay? Defensive line. There's another one I'm sitting over watching. First quarter, 34 seconds, 1st and 15, D-line, linebackers, all get their butts kicked on this play. You know, that's how I have it over here. But we seen they had 5 sacks, okay? What ends up happening, I said the 5 sacks, as great as they are, and it was a tremendous job because, you know, Kolofkis kept coming. And that's what I love about it, because it's a relentless spirit, and that's exactly the type of guy we need. Menahu shows his presence. He's a guy that we need out there all the time. Those guys did a tremendous job bringing some pressure. I don't want other guys' production to wane because other guys are playing, okay? So when you get in, Herring, Dan, like all those guys, you got to make sure that you are as efficient with your snaps as possible, every single one of them. And so there were some questions there. And yeah, I get people battling the fool. People don't feel it. You know, the altitude is affecting you. I get all those things, okay? But there's no way, if you're getting blocked singly up front, that you should be 5 yards kicked off the ball. I seen that yesterday in the film. That's horrendous. You can't win that way. You get a guy like that getting kicked 5 yards off the football. Shit. Hey man, you might have to get your name taken off the locker or sent back to the what's the name to the practice squad. Seriously. And who, you know, the coach needs to go out and jump on him, man, because that's unacceptable. Okay, you've established yourself so great as being one of the top defenses in the league. Don't lose that now. Don't lose everything that you had and what you earned. You've earned that. Don't let a inferior team like the Broncos offensive line come in and do y'all like they just did. That's why it was so frustrating to see, man. So frustrating to see. So yeah, man, I gave the D-line, man, I gave him a C minus. Just needed some better things up front. You should never give 150-something yards rushing, you know, against Denver. You shouldn't. You know they're going to run the football. So that's what I got with them. Okay. Linebackers. LBs. I gave the LBs, I gave them a C. Very gracious with them as well. Very gracious. It can't be overemphasized. The lack of presence of Bolton is a huge difference for us. Maybe not early on in the other games and stuff like that, but a running team, rushing team like this up front, we were getting our butts headed to us, linebacker position on some of the things. He was missing a lot of tackles, out of position, a lot. We was out of position. Drew Tranquil is a great cover linebacker. Okay, that's his strength. Not so much in the running game. Once you get your arms on him as a lineman, then you got him. He's not really getting up out of that. He's just not. And so that's why you got to be – it's imperative that your defensive line is holding up on the end of the bargain so a guy like that can run, okay? Leo Chanel is a different animal altogether. He's a strong guy. He can throw guys around. Leo Chanel, man, when you see a linebacker, or any football player for that matter, he's a football player. When you see guys like that, you can see his greatness. You can just tell he's going to keep getting better and better every single year. The more he gets to plays, the better off he's going to be. He's getting to that place right now where it doesn't make any, like Bolton and Chanel being on the field at the same time. That's a winning combination. And Willie Gay, we don't know what's going to happen with Willie. We don't know what's going to happen with Willie. But, of course, Willie, because he gives you everything he does athletically. We know that. it helps to have Bolton out there with him, okay? Because they can hold each other accountable, right? Bolton's been playing with Willie, so they kind of know where everybody's going to be, right? If Willie don't get there, Bolton's going to be there, okay? That's how it works in the run game. And so when you have the guy who's the second leading tackler, who probably didn't been the first, if he didn't miss any games, is not there, that's a big issue. And that tells you why Trent McDuffie was the leading tackler. There's a reason, okay? Yeah, he's a spectacular tackler, but also, too, there's a reason because he's getting to the second level. You don't want to get to the second level. That's why. So that's a problem. But our defense does a great job. They as a group all together, defense, they do a good job. They do. So I don't want to take away from that. So that's where I got them at. So Bolton, man, we can't wait to get him back. Believe me.
Yeah.
But yeah, but the guys do a good job. They do. You know, Drew does a good job filtering through. If you don't get his hands on him, he does a good job moving around, getting elusive to get away from guys. But yeah, that's what I got him at. You know, we'll see. Corners. Okay. I gave the corners. I gave him a C. Okay, I gave him a C. They look, when you run man and you know that you got to get handsy at times, you got to know when you can get handsy and when you can't get handsy. Okay, Snead was a guy they decided they was going to pick on that day. They really did. They scattered him out. I guarantee Sean Payton's like, look, we got to throw the ball up to these guys because you know what? Snead is a guy that is going to fight with you. Okay? There are guys that they like getting into you. They like putting their hands on you. We got to make them force calls. Okay? And so what Sutton started doing is he started realizing, well, Snead's going to fight with me every way. So let me just give him a little bit so he can push back against me. And so he was almost looking to try to get the calls or pass interference. Okay? And so as a receiver, a good receiver, that's what you do. You either try to fight for it, but while you're fighting for it, go after the football, like he did. There's some plays he just made. The one where the guys didn't talk, where Jerry Jeudy comes over, catching one in the end zone, the back of the end zone, should have been talking right there. There's no way he should have been open back there. Same thing with Sutton, wide open in the back of the end zone, wide open. It's like, hold on, how is he that open like that? So I don't know if it was just a lack of talking. I see the guy, but Edwards, he's a real dog. He comes in. You can tell the difference when he comes in. He's making plays.
I think he needs to get more playing time, actually.
Yeah, but you got young guys that now it's their time, right? Edwards, they'll work it out. Put it that way. All right. But he's got to do things spectacular just to get that playing time and warrant while another guy's not playing. Let me put it that way, okay? That's how it works. But Snead had 4 flags on him, if not 5. I think I counted 5. I might be wrong.
Yeah. It was a lot. I mean, whatever.
It was a lot. And one of them was like, you didn't have to call. You didn't have to hold the guy. You didn't have to hold him. It's like, what are you doing? It's a tight end. This like ain't getting open. Why you holding this dude? You run with him all day. And it's like that extended the play. I think they even scored on that. And I'm just like, man, this is silly things like that can't happen. Okay? They can't. And so I know he'll hold himself accountable. Spag's gonna hold them guys accountable. But I grade hard on these defense because I know how good our defense is, how good they can be. And so it's all based off of what they showed us. Okay. You can't go back. I'm not going to take you back and say, I didn't expect y'all to actually be a top 5 or top 10 defense. I did. I said that last year. I said these guys could be definitely a top 5, top 10 defense in this league. No doubt about it. You start showing that. So I can't take you back and say, okay, well, I'm going to start grading you like you were because you regress. Nah, that don't work like that in the NFL. Doesn't work like that with me when I'm grading, okay? You show what you can do, that's where I'm grading you from at point on, okay? So it's going to be tough grades for me, man, but that's what it was. Our defense needed to play better. Denver is so bad offensively that it looked like our guys held them, but they wasn't. They had the time of possession on lock. They was running football when they wanted. Jerry Jeudy and Cortland Sutton went up and made plays. They looked good. I'm like, ugh, okay. How come we're not doing that?
Yeah.
Throw some balls on our guys, go get it. And when Jerry Jeudy caught over the middle, woo, on Reed.
Yep.
I was like, that's a hell of a catch. It's a hell of a catch. Reed had a pretty decent game. In and out, he had a decent game. I know he got hurt, a little banged up for a quick second there, but hey. But we just got to get better overall.
Yeah.
Special teams.
Special teams, yeah.
Special teams. Okay. Special teams. I gave our special teams. I gave them a C. Okay.
Really? Bucker was the only offense we had yesterday. I think it needs to be boosted a little bit.
Yeah, man. Well, that gets negated out by our lack of return balls, our fumble by McCole Hardman, those things. So it cancels it out, right?
Yeah.
Buckner, yeah, you can say him individually, right? Superb. But the C was everybody else. It was everyone else, okay? And McCole couldn't really get a handle on anything. He wants to get something started, but because of lack of blocking, he can't get anything. And then he goes down trying to make a play in the most inopportune time to do it on their 5. McCole, either get out of the way or catch the football and secure it.
Yeah.
It's not the time to make a play, especially when guys are in your face. It's not it. It's not it. So, oh my gosh. And it was like, come on, man. What are you doing? What are you doing? That phase of that guy got to get better. And I know it will. Somebody just got to, man, just relax. You can't do it. You can't make a play at that moment. Okay. Let it be what it's going to be. And then we'll move on from that. Okay. Those guys on the outside getting those gunners, man, has got to do a much better job. Hold those guys up. Okay. That's another thing. So that's why I gave him a C. All right. That's my grades for this week. There's a lot of frustration there just looking at the video. I know they're going to be frustrated watching it themselves. There was offensively, I mean, I'm looking at this right here. We had fumble, MVS, okay, turnover midfield, Jerry Judy's spectacular catch down the middle, then it's touchdown pass to Jeudy, okay. Then we get the ball back, second quarter, 10-minute, 1st and 10. They run the zone blitz, interception by Holmes to Kelsey. 2 turnovers, midfield. So they got good field position. They was getting good field position just based off turnovers, right? Okay. Then come back, 8:28, 4th and 2, tranquil stop, Wilson short of the first down. Got that defensive turner on that one, okay? Rice gets the ball up the sideline for 40 yards. Beautiful. In the same series, Rice misses a block. We misses the block. We set up for a field goal. Okay? Man, that whole second quarter, man, that was, oh my gosh.
Atrocious. Yeah.
Then the third turnover. Fumble by Mahomes inside the 20-yard line. Recovered Denver. Guys were open that play. Guys are open. So, fumble by MVS, interception by Mahomes, thrown it to Kelsey, and a fumble by Mahomes inside the 20-yard line. That's why that's what you seen. That's what it is. That's why we play bad. So we could keep going to the easy thing to jump on is wide receivers and all of that, right? And they do own a lot of that, or some of it. Or at least equal share. Okay. But turnovers, I don't care who it is. It's hard to get by to beat a team with that many turnovers. This is only in the first half.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I mean, I think we all saw it was going to be a rough week as far as the grades wise. But one of those things, every person who's been in grade school, high school, college, there's always that week, you turn an assignment in late, got zeros. But you know what? You bounce back. You turn in homework on time. You got an A on the next test. And the next test is Miami in Germany. So hopefully we'll get an A on that next test there, JD.
Yeah. I'm excited for them to go out there to Germany, man. I am. I think they're going to do a good job. I think they put it all back together. The thing is, you got to take a great assessment of what happened this game. Okay, don't make excuses. You deal with what's going on, and then you move on from that point. You can't control anything else. The only thing you control was what you do. That's it. That's all that matters. Control what you can control. We'll move on from that. Yep. All right, and as long as these guys understand that and know it, they'll be fine. They'll be fine. So
major bounce back spot next week for sure.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So
all right, guys.
There it is. JD's grades of the week. JD's grades of the week. Okay.
There it is. It's in the books. It's closed. You can try to make up your grades next week, fellas.
Our teacher does like this. They put the notes. Like, okay, you know what it is. You want to get better. You want to get your grade up. That's what you got to do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So
that's it from Professor Dunn, guys. But all right, fellas. Well, we'll see you, everyone, ladies and gentlemen, whoever's watching. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Actually, JD and I may be coming on for a trade deadline special after the trade deadline tomorrow for a quick little show on Bleacher Report. But yeah, of course, tune in to Chief Concerns on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere else you get your podcasts, and you guys can hear more from us. So thanks everybody for tuning in, and everybody in the comments and everything.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out the best clips from Chief Concerns. And if you prefer to listen to the show, subscribe and follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and anywhere else you get your podcasts.